Hello, good evening, and welcome. This is Melo Live at 6 p.m. with me, Mary. And today, I know it's been quite a while since we've had this program, but we're back on. And as you can see, I'm joined by the most loving and beautiful Elena D.
Thank you. Those are
So,
such kind words.
yeah, so Elena Lee, well, where can I start? I mean, everyone's like, what? She's 23 and she's done all that? So please, just share with us. I know everyone has seen the advert, but we want to know, Alina Lee, 23, how did you get all this done? And just please, just mention at least, exhaust it all.
Okay. So my name is Alina Lee Intombirai Kumbirai Muya Musonda Nankamba Karimusama. So I have quite a few names.
A few.
I have quite a few names. But in short, I go with just Alina. My family and my close relations call me Lee. Entrepreneur, a social entrepreneur for one of the world's largest organizations, building ecosystems for the network hub, and I'm also working for another organization as a regional organizer for Zambia, Zimbabwe, Mozambique, Angola, and Mauritius. World Skills Champion, World Skills Global Champion, and World Skills Zambia Champion. First Zambian to bring home the gold from my respective field in the global World Skills competition that is like a decade old. So that's something I'm very proud of. What else? I am an Nzisha Fellow, Nzisha Prize winner, which is just Africa's most prestigious award for her youngest, most innovative youth. I am a Queen's Commonwealth Trust member. I am a Queen's Young Leader award recipient. So that means I got Queen of England. Yeah. I don't know what else. Quite a few
There's
things.
quite a few. I think I need to get a list done because, it's really something wowing because at 23, all that, so it's quite something that everyone would definitely want to get a glimpse. Like, at what age did you finish school and when did you get started?
I was about 15, 16. About 15. We had actually the graduation before we wrote the exam. So I was 15 in 2012. I graduated high school. I actually took 2 gap years. It was supposed to be just 1 gap year. It turned out to be 2. And then I decided that I wasn't going to go I had the option to go and have a scholarship in Australia. So go to Australia, and I was going to live with my cousin. We had this whole plan. So my mother was not pleased when I said, well, I think I want to take a different path and this doesn't feel right for me. And it felt like there was more I wanted to do before venturing into uni, and I couldn't figure out to decide what I wanted to study even after I had graduated. I kept changing my mind. I would say, okay, I want to study this, and I think about jobs and etc. And I think it was more important for me to build experience because I looked at, well, when I graduate with this degree in a few years, there'll be so many other people that will graduate. What will set me apart? So I thought it was really important for me to start to build my CV early, experience, gain practical knowledge, and then add the degree on top of that to complement. So yeah, that's how it started.
Wow.
Lots of sacrifices needed to be made.
Okay, so I think everyone could be versed around the brand expert. So now explain, how did you merge into being a brand expert since you're an entrepreneur already? But then I've seen you've done works with Pick and Pay and other. How was that for you?
So with Pick and Pay, it was mostly like advertising opportunities that I would create, and not just Pick and Pay, a few other organizations too.
Water,
yeah. I have a key passion for marketing. One of my companies is Bonavita Limited, and we specialize in digital marketing, film production, content creation for social media, for television, creating marketing strategies and communication strategies and that kind of thing. So marketing, I developed a key interest when I was maybe in grade grade 10 or 9, and my mother was getting her MBA, and part of her MBA was something to do with marketing, and I hope she doesn't kill me for sharing it. And so she had a lot of work to do. Single mother, taking care of all of us, has a full-time job, and etc. So she would ask me to help her study or help her do research for her assignments, just like ask
And
her
how
questions.
old were you at this point?
I think I was 12.
Research?
I was 12.
Wow.
2009. I was 12.
It's never too early.
No. I was 12, so I guess like that's where I developed an interest from. Is she would like force me to ask her marketing questions, then she would give me a response, and I would look through the book and say, okay, yes, that's correct, or okay, yes, you missed a point here and whatever. And then from that, she would then flip it on me and say, let's see if you've learned a thing, and she'll start asking me, and it turned out I was learning a thing.
Wow.
So that's how that started, and then I started working with different brands. A lot of it in the beginning was very much like volunteer work, not paid for. You know, you're paying for your own transportation. My mother thought it was very useless. She says they should at least give you transport. That's typical.
Yeah.
But no, I gained a lot of skills. I worked with a lot of different companies, and then from there I felt comfortable and confident enough to go and try negotiate the deals on my own and build a small team for myself. And then I ended up being actually the brand manager for World Skills Zambia after being their champion.
Wow.
And after bringing home the gold from before I brought home the gold from Abu Dhabi, they said, okay, well, we've seen that you have your CV also says that you are in marketing and whatnot. And then I started doing some things for them, and then I ended up doing the whole brand. But of course, I already had the brand book and brand kit.
Awesome. So, you know, I'm sure a lot of people are like Aline and the Karima and the others. Are you Zambian? I know, but they don't know. So are you?
Yes, I'm Zambian with Zimbabwean and Ethiopian roots, but I am Zambian born and bred.
Awesome. So that I needed to get it out there so that everyone should know. You know, a young girl can do this because, you know,
a young woman.
Yes, a young woman. So now, Alina, just to take you back to your school times, we're talking about being proactive and during a pandemic. You know, then we didn't oversee this. We didn't think this would happen. But now, as a young girl helping your mom with research, and you did mention forcefully. So now, what are some of the things that you can appreciate while being a girl and not really understanding that these things would actually impact you to what you are now? Like, what is that any girl right now watching us can just grasp to say, I can be there as well one day?
I'm not sure specifically for a girl, but any young person, I can say, your journeys are unique to you. So I think for any girl or woman, it's really important that you believe in yourself strongly and firmly. As a girl, you have parents trying to tell you who to be, how to speak, how to act, how to dress, trying to limit how you can creatively express yourself and whatsoever. And if you don't, then you are so fortunate and you should go big or go home. And most times it's, oh, you are a girl, you must sit the proper way. Oh, Alina, you are a girl, you must not be stubborn, you must listen. You know, when I would question things, and the answer would always be no, it's just because it's no. But you have to be really firm in yourself, and when you question things, know that you're not doing a bad thing. That's curiosity. Okay, so whenever that you are even being innovative in terms of entrepreneurship, you question things. Why is this working the way it is, or why isn't this working the way it's intended to be, or what can I do, what can help solve this problem, what solutions can we come up with? So questioning and curiosity is always good, but firmly, as a young woman, as a girl, believe in yourself and don't let outside voices influence who you become, unless it's voices of mentors. Voices of mentors, people that are encouraging you and supporting you to go forth, be creative, explore. What do you want to do? Things like that. So firmly and strongly believe in yourself. Be your own cheerleader. Do not get distracted by boys. Unfortunately, we have to say that as well.
Exactly.
And not that girls are easily distracted by boys. Actually, we're not. But yeah, firmly, strongly believe in yourself and go for it. Even if no one else is supporting you, even if no one else except you believes in you, still go for it.
Awesome, awesome. So now, to think, in this pandemic and how social media now is very impactful, most marketing agencies are all going social media. Melo Live itself is a social media advertising service. So now, you know, there's so much trending, there's so much going on. Little talking about economic sustainability, little talking about these big issues. It's either TikTok, a new video, a new thing. So how can young people all together refocus themselves, away from what's trending and really go back to what's really important? Like you had your mom showing you, like inspiring you with marketing, and now here you are. So how can they really refocus within what's going on and just the challenges that the pandemic has presented to us?
I think things like TikTok and social media are really great tools if used correctly. I mean, the ability to go viral if you have a product and you make a really like catchy, trendy TikTok, your product could, when that video goes viral, your product also goes viral. You're increasing the audience that knows about you, what you're doing, what your product is, what it's supposed to help solve, etc. And you could use that to the best of your advantage. I think it's important to not get lost in just the trend of it. Is, oh, let me make just a fun TikTok and all those dances and whatever. Is, you can also use that for good. And TikTok has so much information now. I think it's just last morning that a friend shared a TikTok video about why feminism is foreign to Africa and etc. And so there's a lot of great information and educative topics and information and accounts that you can find on social media and whatever. So it's just, if all you're interested in is the viral dances and looking cute on camera, then that's all that you're gonna get exposed to. That's all your Instagram algorithm will bring to you. But if you interact with other things that are educative, informative, you look up people with a hashtag, it's hashtag Michelle Obama, hashtag Wangari Maathai, hashtag Alice Lynchinan, stuff like that, then your algorithm will change, and then your social media will now be filled with informative posts and whatsoever, instead of just things that could end up being toxic and kind of like stunting you, and you're not able to progress mentally or emotionally, physically, whatever. So yeah.
Okay, so now, I was just thinking back, hear this woman, everyone right now would be like, wow, I wish I was her. But then, like you've mentioned, everyone has their own style of life that has been fashioned, for them. But then, of course, challenges do come. Others are bullied, others may have, issues, maybe family and whatnot. And I sure believe this was not foreign for you. So now, how did you, despite everything else that may have, derailed you from everything that was motivating you, how did you maintain within that path?
I think the advice that worked for me then when I was growing up might not work for young people now growing up, which was just like, be strong, tough it out, da da da. And yeah, you are maybe produce this like strong outer shell or whatever, but inside it still hurts and words still affect us. It's important that to recognize that it's not just everyone that's being bullied. Some of us are bullying, others are bullying others. So as an individual, take the responsibility to be a decent human being. It doesn't matter if you are 11, 13, if you're listening to this, 31, 62, be a decent human being, respect people, be aware that everyone has their own battles that they're fighting. Always try and show kindness, even when it's not deserved. And if you do find yourself going through challenges and you're being bullied, or you have a tough upbringing like I did, focus on the bigger picture. Talk to someone if you have someone to talk to. If not, honestly, a good cry. A good cry will do you good. You get the emotion out. You're not building it in. Write it. I used to write on a piece of paper, like a letter, and just express my emotions, everything I was feeling at the end of the day or week or month, whenever I could, and just crumple it up and burn it or rip it up, throw it in the bin. Take a deep breath in, a deep breath out. You let it go and you keep moving. Because
Mhm.
life won't slow down because Alina is going through something. Unfortunately, it goes on. But it's important to also take a break, a step back when your mental health isn't okay,
Mhm.
and say, okay, let me have some time to rest, reflect, and recoup, and then get back into it. And once you get back into it, go hard.
Mhm.
When you rest, you rust. So you don't stop for a long time. When you rest, you rust. That's really important. So keep going.
I love that. And most young people, with the pandemic, are resting now. They either have e-learning, going to school, so they're more on the relaxed side. I love that. So you will rust if you rest.
Yeah, and I mean, the pandemic has brought about different challenges, but it's also brought a lot of opportunities.
Exactly.
There's so many COVID relief funds, there's so many grant opportunities for young people that are rethinking solutions that will be applicable to our new times, our new normal, the pandemic era, and whatsoever. So it's always about being innovative and trying to take the best advantage of an opportunity when it comes. They'll tell you, like, don't take everything that comes on your plate, sure, but know that some opportunities only come once in a lifetime, honestly speaking.
Yeah.
So take advantage of every opportunity that you can while you're still young, and yeah, the rest you figure out along the way.
Awesome. All right, so now let's go down to memory lane. What are some of the moments that you can say, wow, that moment really spurred me to move forward? Maybe you're feeling down. What are some of the moments that you can string up?
Yikes. I think as a founder, sometimes present day, and a few years ago, which is still kind of present, not past, the reason that you start, like my organization, the Women's Economic Empowerment Project, I started it because I know what it's like to live in a peri-urban community, where like the compounds, and even if it was a brief time, where the toilet is outside and whatnot, and it's like 12 of you in one house, and there isn't always enough food for everyone to share, and all that stuff. So it was because I knew that women that were going through similar situation, that reminded me just of my mother, and I knew that the children that were going through that reminded me of myself. It's, oh, I've been through that, what can we do to solve it? It didn't feel like the government was doing enough work to step up and fix the problem. So that initial reason for starting isn't the reason that keeps us going anymore. It's not the reason that our organization is like a full-on registered organization with a board, employees, team members, volunteers, that kind of thing. It's because of the impact that we create and the real lives that we change, the real opportunities that are life-changing that we create, the difference that we make in people's lives, in communities. That pushes you to want to do more, expand your reach, be more impactful with your work, rethink what wasn't working before, readjust, and keep it moving. When I was younger, tough times, it just felt like there must be something bigger, greater than this. I mean, my childhood was tough. It was very traumatic. So it was just, I think, the hope that there would be something better than that. But it gets to a certain point where you question, like, so God, when are you gonna make this happen? Is it gonna happen? I'm ready. And you realize it's not going to miraculously, you're not going to walk through an actual door and poof, your new life is there, everything is fixed, or your dreams are coming true. You have to work for it. But it's the confidence in knowing that while I'm putting in the work, there's a higher power for me, right? That's my personal story, is that there's a higher power that's also putting in the work and paving the way for me. So I put in the work, and the work meets an opportunity, and I go for the opportunity, and the opportunity gets me through a metaphoric door. I put in the work again, door, and every no, so many no's. It's funny how the CV looks like done all of this and that, but the no's, my CV is like this. The no list is like this, and so every no is, when you get a no or a rejection, think, okay, why have I gotten rejected when I think this is great? Let me think, what get feedback from them. Really important. Don't just go to pitch to whatever big company or job interview. They turn you down and you take it and you move on. Go ask them, oh, can I know what it was so I can be better for the next time? Make sure you indicate that. Most of them will share with you the reasons. It's sorry, your profile just wasn't looking like this, you just don't have enough experience, and then you build so that you're ready for the next time, you're ready to get a yes. So you're working towards that yes. And every no, that's why there was a saying I saw, like, every no is a stepping stone to a yes, and it's true, because with every failure there's a lesson. But don't take comfort in like 1,000 failures, because if you keep getting no the same time and you're not improving, then that's not, you're not taking a lesson, you're just purposefully now choosing to fail. So when you fail, learn from it, explore what was the reason that this didn't work out, and then make sure you work on that, rethink what you have to rethink. Don't be afraid to re-strategize, and make sure you get ready for the next yes.
I love that. I love that. It's about rebuilding, you know. And now with post-COVID, well, because of the Indian variant, we're not so sure if we're post-COVID, but we're trying to build back better. And we'll be having the Economic Association of Zambia National Youth Summit soon. And you know, it's all about including youths within every system possible, so that we define what we want to see post-COVID. But what are some of the things that you may highlight in your work, you know, with your organization, which is non-profit, and also with your profit-making companies? Like, where do you see we need to wake up as youths? Where do we need to redefine certain things within the social system, economic system, everything? How can we now step up and be included in this?
I think as young people in Zambia, we need to be more vigilant. We need to be more vigilant about what we want to see, and not just the post on social media or in theory. We need to put in the action, we need to demand from government, all that kind of things. But we also, there's such a huge gap in every sector where youth inclusion should definitely be a huge part, because youth, we are Africa's greatest resource right now.
Exactly.
Okay? And we're the ones that are building and paving the way for the people that are coming behind us. And we are currently living in a country that was created by the people that have gone before us. Okay, so we have to, what kind of systems are we looking at? Understanding how things work. It's not just, oh, but why don't we have a youth minister? Or, well, we have a youth minister. Why don't we have someone who's 20s or whatever? Why don't we have, there's nothing wrong with our youth minister, just saying. Much love and respect to him. Just as an example, or oh, this and this and this. We question so much, but do we take the time to understand why things are the way they are? Because then we'll be better able to question it better, and not just question it, but provide possible solutions to it better as well. So yeah, that's all I'm willing to say on this.
Well, we need to dig a little deeper, because you know, within governance, you know, a lot of questions, a lot of eyebrows are raised. You know, because once you look at the economy, you know, you cannot go without talking about the political realms. You know, the political realms within political science, it says it starts from the family unit. You know, that's where the politics start. So now, as youth, how can we've seen, you know, in the past, most youths have really interacted the wrong way. Others have been, you know, arrested for defamation, you know, but then how can we really come out and make influence with a voice? Because social media, you know, various medias give a chance to voice out these issues. But then how can you strategically make sure it's an active voice, not just a passive one?
Well, my experience working in the NGO space when we're trying to build like a youth coalition and whatever, is really about peer-to-peer education. That's one of the things that WordPress is peer-to-peer education, really interactive and informative sessions, demonstrations or peaceful protests, making sure people understand how to carry that on. How can you build a successful youth coalition? You need to really work together. It's not just about one person or 3 people. It starts as one person, grows to 3 people, 10, 50, 100, and so on. Yeah. So I think when it's peer-to-peer education, as young people who are well informed, take the time out on your social media to engage other young people. It shouldn't be a very long written post Just honestly speaking, from like a marketing perspective, I don't have time to sit down and start reading your 10-page Facebook post. Okay, so you're gonna make it short and catchy. And the thing is not just about it being short and sometimes not even catchy. Brief but consistent. Even our sessions with peer-to-peer education where we take on young people and we train them. And even I'm a young person, but I was trained by someone older who has more knowledge, experience than me, etc. And then we take these young people and train them how to be trainers and talk to other young people and be peer-to-peer educators. And because then you listen better. If it's from me to you, it's more relatable, it's more understandable. You feel more free, comfortable, confident to ask me questions because you know this is my peer, we're at the same level. There's no judgment or embarrassment here. So yeah, those are the tips like that I can give.
Okay, and now you mentioned some of the modes that this can be conveyed, the demonstrations, the protests. You know, we usually have a lot of confusion around these activities. Have you had any experience maybe that you could share within how demonstrations or peaceful protests can be handled better?
Make sure that they're peaceful. The whole point of a peaceful protest or demonstration is to make sure that it's peaceful.
Yeah.
That the message is more important. All right. You're showing that this message is really important. We come in peace. This is the message that we have come to deliver. A really strong delivery and unification. It could be unified clothing. Everybody agrees we're going to wear white or orange, depending on maybe what color represents the cause that we're fighting for, or pink or black, whatever it is. Everybody's unified. Everybody is on the same page and program. We all take this path to remain peaceful. You get the appropriate permissions that you need from the police or whatever. If you're going to demonstrate at your school, at your workplace, wherever it is, make sure you have the appropriate permissions so that nobody's getting arrested or whatever. And if anything does go wrong, no one can come and say, oh no, but you were supposed to go this way and you didn't. You guys just decided to do this random thing. Cooperate with the law. Unfortunately, you have to, okay, to cooperate with the law. Be unified, and remember the biggest aspect is peace. Do not engage in violence. If anything starts to go wrong, take out your cameras, record it, make it go viral on social media.
Amazing. So now, within our chats, you did mention you are a reader, you're a bookworm, if I should say. So now, how has this helped you within your work as well? You know, we do bear a bad and poor reading culture in our country, but then how has that helped you, you know, through your work, and how can this also just help somebody out there, or how can they grow it? Is it something that is a skill, you know, that can be honed, or how has it been for you?
You can argue that reading is a skill that can be honed. It's an interest that you can also develop and pick up. So for me personally, my experience with reading is you, with certain experience and like accolades, awards, or whatever, you can get lost in, oh, people think that I do know and whatever, and you really believe that you now know about this situation, you know the ins and outs of it. But when you read and you're exposed to more knowledge, you realize there's a lot more out there that you don't know about. And I think it's that the humility in that, being able to accept that you are a cup that will never be full, but your goal and mission is to keep filling it with knowledge, with wisdom, with other skills. And reading helps to do that. It helps to create some kind of intellect in you. There's nothing that you can't read about. So you're financially literate, pick up a financial management book or finance book. You want to take on a skill, I'm sure there's a book that can teach you. But also it helps to make you more aware of diverse issues and topics and world history, which is really important, why some systems were built and work the way that they do work. It exposes the truth in leaders, some leaders that we have maybe looked up to our whole lives or whatever, and when you get older or whatever age you are and you read up on it and you do more research, it exposes the truth in their leadership, the gaps, whatever. It helps to mold you. Reading does help to mold you. And I think reading for me is important because I consider myself a writer also, so I'm in love with words. So the more I read, the more I write.
Awesome. So now I need to take you back, and this is something I have mentioned before the show, but you did meet Prince Harry. Yeah, so tell us about that. How was it? How did you feel when you were picked to say that you're going to speak for him?
Um, I was hand selected to give a keynote speech alongside him, and I spoke more than him.
Wow.
Um,
Yeah.
it was very surreal. It was 2018. I had just won Yanzisha Pride. I had really like short blonde hair. I think that blonde hair was a really lucky charm. Uh, yeah, so that came about because of my history as a Queen's Young Leader, of course, and he was a senior member of the royal family, and so of course he was highly involved with Queen's Young Leader. He was the president of Queen's Commonwealth Trust, the organization that I am now a global consultant for, and so people were asked to apply, and we weren't really told what was happening and whatnot. And then from there, submit something and say, so this Queen's Commonwealth Trust is happening. So it was Queen's Young Leader first, and then Queen's Young Leader is kind of not existent anymore because it was a very exclusive short program. And then Queen's Commonwealth Trust is actually more inclusive, and it's not really exclusive. A variety of young leaders from across Commonwealth countries globally. And so you join this network where you get connections, you get funding, you get opportunities and exposed, and you get your story shared to potential funders and whatnot. And then we were hand selected, and we had to. So then that meant my organization, before I was like individually consulting, my organization was an official member of Queen's Commonwealth Trust, and we were one of the first members, and our story was one of the first stories to be published on the website and in the organization and whatnot. So that was very. I was also part of the planning committee, and his team had flown down like a few days before, and we had Nicola, who's like this chief executive officer of Queen's Commonwealth Trust, also fly down to Zambia, and we spent maybe almost 2 weeks with her, just going through everything. And I had my exams at the time.
Wow.
I had my exams at the time. So yeah, that was crazy.
But you handled it.
Yeah.
Well.
The event was supposed to be at Mulungushi International Conference Center, but we decided that one of our colleagues, his organization, would be better because it really captured the work that we young leaders and like Queen's Young Leaders were doing in Zambia. And all of my colleagues that also gave speeches were Queen's Young Leaders. So we are the only Queen's Young Leaders in Zambia.
Wow. Okay. No, that is really amazing. And is it how did you feel and when you're telling your mom, it's I would love us to draw, maybe just draw us how that happened for you, because everyone's dream would be, wow, oh my goodness, I speak before such a person. So just share with us, how was it?
I felt very confident. I felt very much in my element. I was very calm. My mother got to be there. Um, Girls from our organization got to be there. They were crushing on him. They were excited. They couldn't believe it. But yeah, when I met him, he said to me, I remember he said to me, "Oh, you should come back to the palace and we'll have you over." And that didn't happen.
No.
But that's okay. I felt very excited, confident, calm. My mother was very excited. I couldn't tell anyone until we were not allowed to tell anybody at all. So I told my mother I and
Some internet problems, but we're back. All right, so now if you're joining us, this is Melo Live. We're supposed to be at 6 p.m. But yeah, internet connectivity couldn't get us down. So now, as we draw to a conclusion, and then it's really being something within a short while. Everyone can understand. Wow, this was a young girl from this point, and now it's a lady. All this, your resume is full. It's a mouthful. What do you look forward to now? Do you have much more that you still want?
a lot more.
I love that.
A lot more. A lot more. When you're working on one project or when you're working towards one goal, when you're about to get there, make sure you set another one. It's when I get to this goal, this is what's next, and again and again and again and again. Because like I said, when you rest, you rest. Okay, you will stop at when I'm 20, I want to do this and this by the time I'm 20. What about when you're 21? What about when you're 25? What will you do at that age? So I am constantly setting goals and I'm constantly moving to what's the next part of this and etc. I have so much more to look forward to. Yeah.
Okay, so what's next with you?
I have this thing where I don't jinx anything. So even my mother knows I won't tell her about an upcoming project or award or anything until everything is confirmed and it's like maybe a few days before, then I'll tell people. I'm really superstitious on top of being religious, so I never want to jinx anything.
Wow.
So what's next is you will read about it.
Awesome. We'll definitely follow through. So I hope you will be coming through to the youth summit, and
Of course.
all the youths are mostly invited. I think registration is done for now, but we'll be having the National Youth Summit at Mulungushi Conference Center, which is next weekend on Saturday. So what are some of the words that you could share with everyone viewing us right now? In line with just being proactive, not trusting. How can everyone, just contribute in their own small way, and also ensuring that they're moving forward and making a huge impact?
You need to know who you are, because if you don't, it's very easy to get lost in everything. You'll be doing something because your friend is doing it. You end up competing with your friend's goals, or your sister, or your cousin, or your brother, whoever. You end up being in competition or trying to achieve somebody else's goals instead of your own. So you need to really be centered in yourself, know who you are. Take the time to spend some time alone with yourself, with your real thoughts, your real emotions, how you envision your future. What is the best possible outcome for you or your future? And how can you start working towards that? Whether you have the right resources, whether you don't have networks, information, whatever it is, just start now. There's such a power in starting now. Support, no support, whatever it is. Resources, information, as you're starting and you're failing, remember you learn from your lesson. Make sure that you turn it into a stepping stone for your yes and for your success, and you keep moving on from there. Know who you are. Set your own goals. Don't compete with timelines. Forget that stuff. People, you must be married, have a car by 30, and forget what everybody else is saying. You have your own timeline and time frame. You are the author of your story right now, and and there's so many paths that are set up, and whatever opportunity or door you walk into, it could lead you two ways again. And if you're not sure where you're going, what helped for me, because again, like I said earlier, I wasn't sure. When you're not sure where you're going, any path will lead you there. So whatever opportunity you can take to be creative, to get educated, to gain a new skill, take it on. And go looking for those things. Don't just sit waiting for this miracle. No, I'm waiting for God's miracle. No, somebody gets married and will give me $1 million. I'm also waiting. It doesn't happen. You have to go and get it. Okay, so you go looking, you go creating those opportunities. That really helped me when I just started. I'm still in the beginning of my journey, but when I just started creating my own opportunities helped. Making sure that I networked with people and I knew people. I told people what I'm able to do and whatever, and I would always say, if you're not interested in this service, maybe you'll come across someone who is. So take my number and you could pass it on, and that's really important also. How you carry yourself and represent yourself in your youth is extremely important. People are watching, potential employers or whatever. If you have to live your best life and it's a hot girl summer, do it, but do it in private and make sure that you are representing yourself as a brand and image really well also.
Awesome. Well, this has been great, Amanda. Thank you. And we're actually live from her house. So it's been amazing. Thank you for having Melody through, and we'll definitely have her through soon.
Thank you. This is the most excitement that's happened in my garage.
I know, this has been amazing. Thank you so much, and wishing you all the best. And for everyone, they can definitely join through every Saturday, 18 hours, Melo Media at 6 p.m. with me, Mary. Thank you for joining through, and we'll see you next time.